views on the current overcrowded situation in the district, especially the high school?
My view is that it's not right. And I'm kind of concerned about that. I'm nervous. It's not right, and we need to do something about that. We need to hold our superintendent accountable, because that's where it starts. She's the leader. We pay her to do the job, and when that's not done right, then we have a serious problem. So she needs to come up with a plan on how this is going to be addressed, because as a board member, we oversee what the superintendent does. So it's up to her to come up with a plan, present it to the community, and we just need to know what that plan is.
Thank you. Ms. Grayson.
First of all, we have a very serious problem in our village, and the superintendent has little control over that. We also pay the mayor and his cabinet. There is no code enforcement happening in our community. When you have 3, 4 families living in a single family home, that's going to cause a trouble in your school district. When you have 2, 3, 4 families living in 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, who incidentally, they're all off the tax rolls as well, that is going to cause a problem. We as a community have to learn how to hold everybody responsible. That includes the mayor, that includes the town, that includes the county, that includes the state. There are no other communities in Nassau County where they allow these kinds of infractions to happen, and then the homeowner is responsible. So sitting on the board, I have learned that if we as a community don't work together, it's the responsibility of the community to hold the board accountable and come up with goals for our community. We give those goals to the superintendent, and then we can evaluate the superintendent's performance based on what this community wants the schools to look like. But we really have to come together and work together to do that. And that includes the village. We have to hold the people responsible, and stop letting people put light on us, making it seem like it's our responsibility and our fault for this overcrowdedness. It is not. We've lost 2 students in the last couple of years because of lack of code enforcement. 1 child, 17 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment. The baby died in a fire. Another child, 4 families living in a 1-family home. The baby died when a bus rolled through the front of it. We have to do code enforcement. It's not safe.
Well, I want to thank you for that answer. But I want you to know I'm a very active parent in this school district and this village. The village did come up with an idea that was passed to the school district. There was 3,000 families or homes, if I'm not mistaken, that the village asked the school district to work with, to look into, to investigate, first of all. And if we go to the meetings like we should, you would know that, number 1. Number 2, there was a PTA meeting, a PTSA meeting at the middle school. That was last night. Mr. Strong did come up with a solution to the problem. We will have about approximately 2,000 students here at the high school. And he came up with a plan with a toggle system where half the children will start early and some will come in late. They will have a 70-minute, if I'm not mistaken, time where they will have 70 minutes periods. So they will be toggled at a time. I don't know if it's been approved yet, but this is an idea that they're coming up with. We have to be involved. When PTA meetings are happening, there's a lot of us in this room who don't go. PTA, PTSA, and SEPTA meetings are there for everyone in this community. But we say we're so busy I'm busy too. I have a husband and children that I'm raising. I go to church and the organizations that I'm involved with. But I make time for my community. The village meetings are on Tuesday, 1st and 3rd. We have board meetings. We need to be more involved. That's the bottom line.
When we look at our community at large is overcrowded. And we have to look at that first. We're looking at the district constantly saying, answer the question, but we need to look at the community and say, what can you help us answer the question? There is space within our village that I believe that can be afforded to the district, and that space can be utilized to house our children. But again, it's calling all of the stakeholders together. It's pulling everybody in, saying, listen, we must make education a priority. And the housing of our children is just not a principal's responsibility. It's just not the district's responsibility, but it's the entire community. And so as we're looking at it, we constantly look at this Renaissance downtown that's about to come. And when this project is completed, we have three or four more apartment buildings that's going to be built with 326 units each. That's still going to be an influx in our district. And none of the current facilities can house an additional students. So even outside of the toggle plan, we still have to look for some of the abandoned buildings, some of the facilities that the district currently have leases with, and reconfigure those spaces so that we can have a safe place for our children to learn.
It's going to take planning and organization, because if we come to the high school right now, we are going to find classes, 1 teacher, 3 students, 1 teacher, 5 students. That means whoever was doing the job, they didn't do a good job planning how we are going to organize our students, how to teach them. We started the year with a master schedule for the students. So that is going to be going into a domino effect. Yes, we have overcrowding, about people living in houses. It's about for more families, more than 3 families. It's something that the district, as a school district, doesn't have control. Each entity has to do their job. And I think it's time to start blaming each other. I think it's time to come to a solution. It's time to think how we can do the best with whatever we have. We cannot reject anybody. We cannot blame a single person. We have to work together, and that is the only way that we are going to solve our problems. Thank
you. Excuse me. I see the board as tasked with turning the educational situation around. We have a system that's just not providing a proper education for our students. And in fact, the numbers are what they are, and we're going to have to deal with them. In reality, it could be seen as an opportunity, because if we realize that at the core of our problem is we have a system that whether you're prepared to move on or not, you're promoted and you're allowed to continue. So if the so-called experts say, hey, Johnny's 17, but he's reading at the 2nd grade level, that was not the time to catch that. We can use this situation in order to have different time schedules where, as we realize what level you're at as a student, we program you in order to come in at the time and group you with students who have common needs. We're going to have to make some changes here. It didn't happen overnight where we're at. The problems are serious. We're going to have to see things in a different way. Finding the problems are easy. Now taking them apart, dissecting them, and offering solutions are where we're going to turn this around. The reality of it is we have 2,000 students coming in. Yes, some of them are good at math. Some of them are not ready to go on. But we have to identify it use that time schedule in order to meet their needs. This is not a numbers issue. This is a matter of really students not acquiring the education that they deserve. And in reality, if we don't fix this issue, we won't be a board much longer because the state is prepared to put us into receivership. So we have to embrace the fact that what we have done in the past has not worked. We're going to have to make some hard choices. I've done that in Brooklyn. I apologize. I did not say that.
Mr. Spencer.
Okay, the question is about overcrowding, right? About the overcrowding in our schools, first of all, it's a safety issue for our children and our teachers and administrators. One thing is being a fire inspector for the last 20 years is we can always call the fire marshal because the state says we have to bring more children in. If we're over fire code, we're over fire code. So the fire marshal's office will tell the state they cannot possibly legally bring not another child in because for every child that you're over, you get fined. So I do know that with the village, we need a bridge between the village and the school because a lot of the problem is code enforcement. But so you understand and get the education, code enforcement can't just go in a house. They have to get a judge to sign a warrant and go that way, but you have to have probable cause. One thing we implemented in the fire department, when we go to fire calls, we don't need a warrant to go inside. If we see partitions up, extra beds, too many people in the house, we can then bring code enforcement in with us. So we've been doing that at every fire call, and it's been effective. We have a lot of these slumlords in court right now, and we're trying to fight this on our side as best as possible. And once again, we can tell the state no, because we do have rules and regulations that the state must follow as well as we do. Thank you.